How to add a sub-user. Once you're logged into the internet banking site, you can go to the settings area. One of these sub-tabs under settings is going to be sub-users. And at this point, we would go ahead and click the Add a Sub-User option. And from this screen, we would need to go ahead and include the sub-user's information. So the name of the sub-user, their email address, display the sub-user to me as, this is essentially the name that you are going to see as the master user whenever you are looking at your sub-users in the system. The invite answer, this will be the invite answer that you as the master user will have to provide to the sub-user. So what happens once we complete this enrollment and we click submit, an email is generated to this sub-user. The email is sent to the email address that we've included. When the sub-user opens the email, it's going to ask them to validate the invite answer, which is this key that you as a master user have established. So you would give them that. They would be able to key that into the link when they open that email. And from there, they would be able to proceed through establishing their username, their password, security questions and answers, so on and so forth, to establish their credentials that they will use to access internet banking going forward. Copy permissions from, this is utilized if you already have a sub-user that is built and you would like for the new sub-user to have the same permissions as user XYZ that is already in the system. You can create this person as an admin. You can give them all of the accounts that you as the master user have access to. Creating them as an admin allows them to be a password manager for sub-users where they can reset passwords for other sub-users within the company. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and click submit. The next screen allows us to start assigning access to specific accounts. So if we do not go ahead and give this user all accounts that are linked to the master user profile, you are able to grant permission on account-by-account basis. So if you have 10 accounts as a master user and the sub-user should only see 1 or 2 of those, you can certainly accomplish that just at the next step, where you have grant access to, there's a drop down, and this should give you a complete list of every account that is linked to your profile as a master user. You can work through this list, select the account that you're wanting to grant access to. A little further to the right, there is a drop down that says copy permission from. So again, if there is already another sub-user in the system that you would like to mirror their access, you can copy permissions directly from the other sub-user and just utilize those. Otherwise, just go ahead and click the plus sign to grant access to. Are we sure we want to grant access to? We'll say OK. And at this point, the screen should come back and give us a listing of all of the permissions that are available for us to be able to assign to this sub-user. The unique thing about this is, as a master user, I would not be able to assign permissions to the sub-user that I myself do not have. So I can assign the exact same permissions that I have, but nothing more. If you want to restrict what access you are granting this sub-user, you could certainly go through and uncheck mark these boxes accordingly to give them transfer in, transfer out, view statement access, bill pay access, positive pay, wires, so on and so forth. You can see the screen there is what's listed. Limits are applied, as you see, it would be limits from the master user would trickle down as well. So at this point, the sub-user's access really has been granted. You would just continue to work through the list in the drop down and add access to that account, and then check mark and uncheck mark accordingly. So at this point, the access has been established. What is left is for the sub-user to retrieve that email invite link that's generated from the system. They'll take that invite code that you as a master user established, and they'll utilize that code to validate that they are that sub-user that should be receiving that email, and then they'll be able to proceed through the setup to start logging into the system going forward. If you wanted to take a look at who all is set up, you could click on View Sub-Users, and this is actually the screen. If you already have existing sub-users out there, this is the screen that you would see initially if you were to go to Settings and click on Sub-Users. You would see that those sub-users listed individually. As you're looking at these sub-users, you can edit the information that you set up on them, their name, their email address, what you see that sub-user as. You could edit their invite answer if you wanted to change that for whatever reason, if maybe they're having trouble getting logged in. You can delete the sub-user. You can review their permissions. So this is going to take us right back to that same screen we just navigated away from, where we were seeing the account listed and then all of the checkboxes for the permissions that go along with that. And then also, if you are a master user that can manage authenticators, tokens, or out-of-band authentication, it would allow you to be able to manage those authenticators for that user. Again, that is a bank setting that would be determined on the bank side of things, so that piece may or may not be applicable depending on your sub-user setup.